So our story starts out at the University of Waterloo in Ontario, Canada. Researchers there asked college students to predict how long it would take to write their thesis. The average estimate was 34 days, a little over a month. Researchers also asked them to estimate how long it might take if everything went smooth, as well as to estimate how any potential delays might impact their original guess. Respectively, the averages were roughly 27 and 48 days. Now, how long do you think it actually took the students to submit their completed work? The answer is just over 55 days, a week later than the worst-case scenario and a full 3 weeks longer than the original estimate. That's approaching nearly double the amount of time. And it's not like these students had never written a paper before. So why were their estimates so far off? In another study in 2002, homeowners that were planning to remodel their kitchens were asked to estimate how much it would cost. The average estimate, $19,000, but the actual cost were $39,000, over double the original estimates. Now, the two cases presented are among hundreds of studies that have been conducted that demonstrate a cognitive bias called the planning fallacy. This was originally a bias discovered by psychologists Daniel Kahneman and Amos Tversky in 1979. Defined, the planning fallacy is the tendency to underestimate the time and resources that you will need to achieve your goals. This tendency does not only impact individual judgments, but organizations as well. Ever hear of stories of government projects where a hammer ends up costing over $400 or a $600 toilet seat? What about the case of the Sydney Opera House, where a $7 million project ended up costing $102 million and took 10 years longer to complete than originally projected? For some hard data, there was a 2005 study of railway projects that showed that over the last 30 years, 4 out of every 5 of these projects overestimated how many passengers would end up using the system. Now, how can we explain the results of all these studies? And how can we avoid from making these kinds of errors in judgment? There are a number of theories that try to explain why we are so bad at estimating in the future. One is that when we recall past performance, any delays we experience, we tend to attribute those delays to external factors that were beyond our control, while discounting any factors related to our personal performance. And yet another theory suggests that when we make future predictions, it is difficult to estimate the additive factor of those small, individual distractions and mishaps that will occur, such as an unexpected phone call. Instead, we only look at the major elements we believe we can control and build future predictions based on this ideal. So what can you do to deal with the planning fallacy, or are you just doomed to get it wrong? According to some research, the best way is to anchor your future predictions based on objective past performance. If the last time you went on a diet you lost an average of 1 pound a week, that's what you should use to estimate the next time you want to lose some weight. This does not mean to ignore projected changes or benefits of a new idea, method, or process, but to use past performance to anchor and then adjust. I call it the anchor and adjust rule. Another evidence-based technique is to intentionally consider setbacks. A study in 2004 showed that estimates were more accurate after participants considered 3 obstacles that might impede their progress. To use this technique, simply do the same. Anytime you set a goal or are trying to estimate the time or resource required to finish a task, include a step where you write down any potential delays.